All eyes are on Davos, where the biggest names in business, government and civil society are likely to participate in the 43rd World Economic Forum. But what's the India story to sell at Davos this time round, and can India really survive the global headwinds? Here's a word from the biggest names from Government and India Inc.
Well, the India story is one of continuous growth which India has had, and compared to other countries which have taken hits for different reasons. India has not taken any hit because of itself. India has taken hits because of what's happening in other parts of the world. And India, despite that, continues on a growth momentum relative to other countries, is doing very well.
Ms. Kidwai, what do you think is the India story to sell at the 43rd World Economic Forum?
Present on some panels. I must admit, I thought we were there on fewer panels than we've seen before. So I hope that this is not a reflection of a mood shift already. Maybe it's just that people know enough already, so they don't need to know more. But I think it is going to be important for us, all of us there, to ensure that the India story remains top of mind as an investment destination. And I do believe we need to work on it. We cannot take it for granted anymore. There have been issues around retrospective tax which have reverberated around the world. And there is money which was looking to come into India which has held back with a view to clarity therein. And that clarity is still emerging. So as we work towards that destination, and I think all the steps have been taken over the last 2-3 months, they have been noted.
That's an important point made. There have been hiccups in the India growth story. There have been troubles in our economy. We've made mistakes in the past, but we've got to resolve and move on. And I think that's the story that perhaps the world would want India to share at Davos. Mr. Piramal, what do you think is the story you're going to tell the world about India?
Yeah, I think it has, compared to the last year, a more compelling story in the sense that there are some things which are happening on the ground. The government has also given an intention that they want to move. So to that sense, it's more compelling. The other thing is that another compelling reason for India is that all around us, particularly in the developed world, growth rates have slowed down, and the prospects for growth in the future is also looking pretty grim. And therefore, when you can show growth, even though it's 5 or 6%, that's a much better growth than the rest of the world.
We've spoken about the Rara India story, and I'm going to come back to you because you did mention that we are on fewer panels than we were, say, last time around, which is why the question, do you think the dwindling participation of India is a reflection of things on the ground?
No, I would like to believe that it is exactly at times like this that we at India Inc. have to be there, basically beating the drums and reminding people that we matter, that we still have a growth rate which may be sub 6%, but it is still better than many parts of the world, that the agenda is back there. And there are, of course, investors who are at Davos who know India well because they have investments here. They need reassurance too. This is not about new investment alone. This is about people who know India, know the reality on the ground, and have got a bit disturbed by what they have heard or seen and have held back investment. In fact, it's almost easier to get that investment to turn back. The boards that said, look, let's just watch what's going on and then decide, do we put the next $1 billion into India or do we put it in elsewhere?
We, of course, wish India Inc. and people like yourselves the very best to convince global investors that this is the destination. Pump in all your money here. It is going to be safer. But it is going to be up to politicians and policymakers like Mr. Kamal Nath to keep that money safe, to keep moving global investment. Which is why my next question to you, Mr. Minister, you've been a part of many Davos delegations. How do you think that participation has changed over the years?
Well, this time we go to Davos with concerns of Europe, concerns of the revival of the United States, concerns of consumer spendings in these two very major blocks. India's growth is not interdependent with them, but is interconnected with them. And previously we went to looking up at the United States and Europe. Today we go with a sense of caution because while we move on, they have their own struggles to address. So where India is concerned, well, we do have a very good story. We have a story of continuous reforms. There may have been a lull, but India's story is not one of gloom, but is one of boom.